Okay, hey guys, it's TheFrXion here, or Tank12, however you call me, I don't really care, and welcome back to War Thunder. And today we're going to be taking a look at a replay that I just had. Now, you might have noticed that I didn't really upload World of Tanks video this week. I just didn't really have the time, and also I didn't feel like playing World of Tanks the last couple of days, so I didn't upload anything. But we're gonna have a live stream that's probably going to be starting after this video was released. Or before it actually happened, so you'll probably have caught me right then. But the thing is, what we are going to be doing here is I'm going to show you guys a gameplay that I had in my American, or in War Thunder, in Ground Realistic. So let me just see that we can actually get everything to work in order and see and look at the gameplay. Now, this is the best game I ever had in War Thunder. That means a lot to me because let's say I don't have the best experiences. The thing is, with War Thunder, you have the option to play ground battles in realistic and even in arcade, where you can have several vehicles. So it's like Frontlines, where you can spawn into the game, but every single time you want to spawn into a vehicle, you're gonna need the experience and the points. So right there, we just knocked out a Panther, and we actually managed to destroy his ammo rack, and at the same time over there we knocked out a Nasser. We're going to switch over to the player's view, right here, so you can see what I was doing in this occasion. So I was really lucky that I managed to get into a very aggressive position at the start of the match, and the T-20 in this game is a premium vehicle. And we all know in World of Tanks it's a tier 7 medium tank, but in War Thunder it is really powerful. It has a 76mm gun that can deal with German armor very reliably. I'm speaking of the Panthers, I'm speaking of Tigers, I'm speaking of the very first iterations of the Tiger 2s. Almost any time you have the side armor of somebody, you're going to be able to do damage to them. And that's exactly what we're able to do right there. We were able to knock out like the Panther, the Nashorn, and the Charioteer, or I'm not entirely sure if it was a Charioteer, but it was the British tank destroyer that we even have in World of Tanks. So the T-20 allows us, with the very nice mobility that we have in this vehicle, it allows us to get into positions that we usually are not allowed to go into. We're playing on, I'm not even sure what this map is called, but this map has a hill that you can utilize to your advantage, and where you can actually get into a very good sniping position and do some damage. Right there we spotted a Panther, and one of the big things you need to get into when you're playing War Thunder is you need to spot these vehicles for yourself. They're not designated, and only a light tank can really spot them and give you access and give you the information that you need to know where the enemies are. So it's really important that you are always vigilant. You always have to look around. Right there we just saw a tank, we saw a barrel, but I'm not sure if it's a friendly tank or not. So on this hill with this T-20, with the accuracy that we have and everything, it's really a power position. As long as nobody finds out that we are on top of here, we can do a lot of damage, and that's exactly what we're trying to do. There are 2 flag points, and you can see that our team is pushing very aggressively into the middle to capture the point A. And in War Thunder, capturing points is much more important than in World of Tanks. World of Tanks, you either kill everyone or you cap the base. Capping the base takes not a lot of time, especially if you're with 3 tanks, but in War Thunder, if you're by yourself and you need to capture a point and it's just a 2-point game, it's going to take a very, very long time. And well, that's exactly when a lot of things can happen and when you can get into a lot of trouble. Also, the added danger in this game is also that there is air cover, so close air support is also something that can happen, and you will find yourself getting bombed from time to time. But we managed to knock out several tanks already, so we just got the 4th kill, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I can check the score line right there. I'm getting annihilated by I'm not even sure what kind of a plane that was, but unfortunately I'm unable to check how many kills I had, but I think it was the 4th one. No, it was the 5th one, because we took out the Panther as well. The problem, I think, with War Thunder is a lot of the maps are really unbalanced, and it's even worse in War Thunder than it is in World of Tanks, because in World of Tanks the maps, you know, if it's on balance, there are still like ways to deal with it. The maps aren't too big, so maybe you can just control that one part of the map from another side. But in War Thunder, if you aren't able to control a part of the map, you're gonna lose quite a lot of the games. So I'm still trying to just stay on this hill and spot the enemy vehicles, and we do spot a Tiger II, but we know that that thing has very thick hide, especially at this distance. We're going to have a very hard time to actually go right through him. So I'm just scanning the area for another tank, and we do spot a Tiger II. This time around though, it is the Tiger II with the Porsche turret and not the Henschel turret. So we're going to be able to actually pen this guy from the side. Right here you can see we actually knock out his driver, we knock out his machine gunner on the right, so he's unable to move, and the second shot finishes him off and destroys the rest of the crew. I think this system is really interesting, that you have to knock out the crew to be able to knock out a tank. That is something that I would really love, or that I would have loved to see in World of Tanks, or it just doesn't work because we have the HP bar and it's a complete different game. You cannot compare World of Tanks and War Thunder in the gameplay aspects because it's not fair. They're completely different games and they're targeted very differently, or you know, targeted towards very different kinds of players, and that's something you have to get used to. I think both games have their obvious right to be there, and both of them have strong suits and weaknesses. We unfortunately do get knocked out by the Tiger II, and that was probably the Tiger II that we just knocked out. He was respawning in his you know, in the same tank again. You can have a token where you can respawn in the same vehicle, and I decided to actually jump into a plane and see if I can do some damage from above. Now the P-74 is probably a plane that a lot of you guys do know. This thing is the beautiful, beautiful P-74. I don't want to say the wrong name, but I think it was the P-74 Thunderbolt, and it has a really cool camo. I think this is some kind of Pacific camouflage that obviously doesn't make any sense here in the I don't even know, European theater of war. But we managed to knock out a Bf-109 that was actually chasing one of our mates. Now obviously when you're playing this plane, you have rockets, you have bombs, and the plane flies like a brick, and you just have to get used to. I'm trying to bomb this place. I almost crashed into trees. My bombs though are completely off target, which is kind of embarrassing because I could have gotten a 4-piece on that capping circle. Now the problem is obviously I just didn't do enough. I didn't take the time to really aim in. I didn't take the time to drop my bombs. And now you can see that we're just spotting these vehicles by hitting them with rockets and with our 12.7 machine guns, or Brownings. The thing is that obviously 12.7 machine guns can't really do a lot of damage to heavily armored targets. You can destroy open-topped vehicles such as this Ostwind that we can actually shoot inside of by, you know, getting the right angle, and we can take out his crew. That's exactly what we did right there. Very dangerous tank to face in a plane. Usually you do not end up winning that scenario unless they're not really interested in you. So right there you can see there is another plane in the air, and I think this time around it is some kind of, oh, it's the P-51, it's on our side. We're both chasing this Me-410, probably some kind of variant of that plane, and you can see that the P-47, it is a bulky plane, and probably in the long term we're gonna have more energy to be able to take out this guy. But I'm just taking pop shots because you have 2,400 rounds on this plane, so you know what, why not just take a couple of lucky shots? Maybe I'm going to be able to hit him. But unfortunately, tragedy strikes. We get caught off guard by don't even know what it is. It looks like a Spitfire. It really looks like a Spitfire, and that Spitfire just knocked us out of the sky. But the game is not over yet, because if we do check, unfortunately I cannot check that in here, we've gotten 6 kills, 1 plane destroyed, and we've died 2 times, and we got 1 assist. We still have vehicles alive, and if we check right now, you can see that a majority of our team is already dead. we have lost quite a few tanks. They have more vehicles and more players remaining. So the remaining time is it's going to be a difficult battle. Obviously, another favorite tank, at least I think a favorite for a lot of players, it's the M18 Hellcat. And this Hellcat with the 76mm gun, it's exactly the same kind of gun that you have on the T20. And this thing can do a lot of damage if you manage to go around somebody and you can flank around. This tank has the mobility, it just doesn't have the armor. And look what we find right over there. There is a Panther, and there is another Panther, and obviously we do get knocked out very quickly. We just lost 2 of our tankers, and we have 2 Panthers right in front of us. Those are the Panther A's, I think, or Panther D's. I'm not entirely sure which one they are, but you know, a Panther is never going to be an easy target, especially if they know that you are right in front of them. So unfortunately for us, we have to repair the vehicle, we have to repair, and we have to get some crew members in. But with the ability to spot, we are able to actually give our team a bit of a, you know, a warning, and they managed to knock out one of the Panthers. And we're going to be we're going to hunt the remaining Panther. You can see they've made it quite far into our position, and you know, our cap is really close to the flag point, so it's kind of a bit uneven for the enemy team. It's a bit easier for us to push, and that's just one of the things that I mentioned previously with the very unfair kind of advantages that you have on certain maps and disadvantages that you have on certain maps. You know, it depends on where you spawn, it depends on what kind of vehicle you have. We just have to get, like, if you are playing this tank, it's the experience that really does decide in the end on if you're going to be succeeding or not. So right now, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be capping this point. We know that there's a tank somewhere close to the mountain over there, and we're also going to be replenishing the crew member that we lost, because obviously we want to be able to be combat effective. And there's just a very beautiful IS, probably IS-2 that just go through, and we have a T-34-85 right in front of us. Still tanks that I have to get in this game. I haven't done anything on the Soviet tech tree on War Thunder, but I'm working on it, and I have a certain, you know, some vehicles that I want to grind, some tanks that are way more interesting, but I'm really interested in the late tier or the late game that War Thunder does offer. Now, I do kind of mess up a little bit because I wanted to hit something, and I unfortunately hit that little house, that little hut. But yeah, we still have the opportunity to deal some damage, and we're gonna be doing just that. The M18 Hellcat is a very fast tank, and as you can see, I still think that the A point is really important. We have some vehicle, but you can see that we lost quite a few players so far into the game. There are only a few players remaining. And I decided to go back up the mountain. Now, at least that was my goal, my initial goal. The problem right here is, though, that I miscalculated. I'm trying to get down here, and I do get knocked out by an airplane. And that is something you have to be very careful of. That airplane, that you know, close air support can really ruin your day if you're in a lightly armored tank such as mine. The M18 Hellcat is one of the reasons you have to be really careful. It's a really powerful vehicle. If you can get around, you can snipe tanks, you have the mobility, you have the firepower, but what you don't have is the protection. So anyone with a 12.7mm machine gun is going to be able to punch holes into your tank. Anyone with a heavy machine gun, you know, anything above like 7mm of penetration. Unfortunately, it's still showing the Henschel Tiger 2, and that's not really important to us. We're playing the M41 Walker Bulldog now, and this is actually the very first tank that is a non-premium in this lineup. Every single vehicle is a premium in this lineup except for the M41. That's because the lineup that you have is really good. It's also a lineup that makes a lot of credits or civil lines, and I really needed the civil lines to be able to do something. What can also call in War Thunder is artillery strike. The artillery strike in War Thunder though is a lot less annoying than it is in World of Tanks. At least the artillery strike, it doesn't guarantee you a kill or anything like that. It will guarantee a couple of hits, but it's not going to, most of the times, it's not going to completely waste your vehicle, except unless it is a vehicle that is really lightly armored. Damn, I'm yawning all the time. I don't know why, but every time I make a video, I speak English, I am starting to yawn. I don't know why. It's kind of embedded in me, and it's really weird. So we make our way up back to the same spot because I know that this spot can work, and we spot a Panther. Obviously, the M41 has 232 millimeters of pen, and it's not going to have any kind of trouble going through that Panther. But what we don't know, or what we don't notice, is that there was actually a tank destroyer on top of the hill at the back that I just saw in the replay, but I didn't see in the sniper mode right there, so I didn't see it in game. But we do spot a Ostwind. No, not an Ostwind, it's a Wirbelwind, and a Wirbelwind is a very dangerous opponent for our M41 Walker Bulldog, because that thing can knock us out very, very easily. So we do take care of him very quickly, and there's a knocked out T29. But they're again capturing A, and the thing is, I cannot sit on this place indefinitely, so I have to make a move, or I have to do something about it. I noticed that we don't have a lot of players left, but I also know that if we don't attack any further, I think we're going to be winning this based on the tickets that we have, because I think we do have the advantage in tickets. So obviously I'm artillerying A, and I do get knocked out by the Tiger II. My nemesis, he's still there, and he managed to knock us out. What I wanted to do in that moment was actually, I wanted to go down and move on over to A and actually flank around them. But as you can see, because of the Tiger II, we were unable to do so. But we're back in our plane because I had another backup, and this time around we don't have any enemy air support, because at this point in the game, like 18 minutes have passed, and a lot of people have left the game. You can see there are only like there are three Tigers remaining in the game, a Comet and a Flak Panzer, and we only have 4 vehicles remaining, and only 2 of them are tanks, and 2 of them are planes. So you can see that I just spotted vehicles over there. I spot a Tiger that is moving towards our base, and I'm trying to actually get this Tiger right here. My bombs that I do place, we can see if we can get into the bomb view, but I do miss the Tiger. He survives 2 1,000-pound bombs, unfortunately, but I do spot the Tiger II that has been so much of a pain for us in this game. So I do tend to send him a present, and that is exactly my goal right here. So I go into a dive. You can see that the anti-air is opening fire. We do drop the bomb, and it looks like it is a good hit because we managed to blow him up right in that instant. So a very difficult target to engage. We just knocked him out of the sky, or at least we knocked him out from the sky. So the problem is this anti-air is going to be very annoying, and what I really want to do is, I still have missiles or rockets. The problem is with these rockets that they don't really pen a lot, and I need to be able to actually hit the target head on. What I don't want to be engaging is the anti-air. I want to, keep my distance from the anti-air. I want to be able to do some damage to this nice little comet. The thing is, you need to hit the rockets with, on target. They cannot be splash damage rockets, because these rockets that we're using right here, they don't have enough filler to knock out this comet. So I really need to get a pen. If I don't get a pen, I'm not going to be able to knock him out. So that's why I'm trying to conserve the rockets that I have. And you can see the angle that I have right here is a bit awkward, but we managed to actually hit the comet and we knock out his turret. we actually knock out his ammo rack, and this time around the anti-air is unable to do anything. We have 11 tanks killed, 2 assists, and we have knocked out 1 plane out of the sky, and we have died 4 times. This certainly was one of the best games that I had. We ended up winning this, but I think we can cut it short in this instance, and we can just say, yeah, that was a very interesting experience for me, and one that completely, I was just able to gain that victory by using that position. That position on top of the hill just allowed me to be kind of a killer around like 360 degrees around me, and they didn't really pay a lot of attention to me, but in the end I was very lucky that I only got knocked out twice, and we did win this game. I did earn a lot of shit, but we're gonna cut it short because the remaining time is just me landing, me refueling, trying to get back to the battle, and then time running out. So I hope you guys did enjoy this kind of little gameplay, just a little bit of commentary with the War Thunder content. Don't worry, War Thunder is not going to be something that we're going to be covering every single week. We're going to be sticking to World of Tanks around here, but I think it's quite nice to change things up around here every once in a while. So until then, I'll see you guys, and have a good one.